In this sprint, we designed a study for which we'll do during reading week. We wanted to determine which features actually help cheerers find runners. So currently in our cheering view, we have a map of the runner as he is approaching the cheerer, a picture of the runner, and their bib number, and a distance away label, which is right here in red. We won't be including the bib number in this study. So we're planning on having three different cheering views based on what we have right now. So we'll have a cheering view with only the runner's picture, a cheering view with only the distance away label, a cheering view with only the map view, and then we'll also be testing the cheering view with the picture, distance away label, and map view. We currently have published IPA files for all three of these different scenarios, so we're ready to go for our study during reading week. When we're planning to do this is during reading week and testing during major passing times that we've determined from Caesar and end times, which are 11 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 2 p.m. to mimic a crowd of people. We think this will be the best time to actually get a big crowd of people that will mimic the actual crowd of runners. Um, we'll be paying users $5 to participate in our study as a cheerer. I was looking for the runner. Either Leesha and I will be the runner. We won't be running though. We'll just be walking with the crowd. We will be following up with a survey immediately after to learn about their experience and to figure out if any of the primers actually help them find the runner.
Okay, so for the other part of this sprint, we've been working on this new architecture and trying to understand how to set up our app in a way that is more modularized and allows us to test it more easily, which has been a problem in the past. So we're trying out this new setup that introduces view models as opposed to just a traditional model view controller. So yeah, the model, it essentially just handles the data side of things and the structuring of our data. So we have the users and all the attributes associated with the different users. So like for runners, they have their own attributes, like what their target pace is, for example. And then cheerers have their own attributes. So for example, a cheerer comes to cheer for a specific runner. So they have individual ones and then shared ones as well. Like everybody has a username and stuff like that. And then the cheer struct handles the data around the actual cheer. So that involves the audio file for the cheer, the runner object, and then the cheer object for that association of like who's cheering who. And then some other information that just kind of comes along with it, like the time of the cheer, so that we could go back and use that information to sort of trace back to see when the cheer occurred and use that for verification. And then the view model is going to be handling, it essentially kind of handles, as opposed to just like taking the data and spitting it out to the view controller, the view model is going to allow us to handle the calculations and the things that don't necessarily have to happen on the view controller. So like for example, we in the view model we could calculate out, it would just like handle calculations for a runner's pace. And then the view controller would display that pace live, or it would handle the updating of the label, for example. And then the view is the label itself. So hopefully that'll help as well. So then we have three different sort of layers that we've been thinking about. There's the profile view, which that's pretty straightforward. It's just like editing your profile, and then they're depending on what type of user is viewing that view, whether it's a runner or a cheerer, they'll see different information. Similarly with the race view, depending on if you're a runner or cheerer, you'll see different things. So for the runner, you'll see, similar to Runkeeper, you'll see information about your run as you're going, and then there's a summary at the end that shows you a map of the route that you took and your pace information, your timing, and all of that. And for the cheerer, for the race view, this is kind of an overview of the entire race. So like if you kind of, I guess the analogy is thinking about a racetrack with, I forget what they're called, like a horse racetrack or whatever. But you can kind of like see a board of all the runners going. So sort of similar, that's sort of the end vision of this, but right now it's just kind of be a map, and then as a cheerer you could see all the runners around you and select and choose who you're going to cheer for. Yeah. And then the cheering view is specific to the cheerer users, and that's just going to be, once you've selected your runner, what information are we going to display to you that will give you enough context to be able to cheer, and then the functions related to that. So that's going to work back with the cheer struct and recording the cheering data and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the structure that we have right now, and we've been focusing on implementing this second tier with the race view controller, and the view model, because that's the part that's problematic in our existing app right now, and it's also one of the core functionalities. Like the profile view isn't as important right now, but we've been having issues with the old architecture and the old code, with the race view not being as easy to debug, so we've been focusing on that.